Hello, and welcome to the Designing with Love podcast. I am your host, Jackie Pellegrin, where my goal is to bring you information, tips, and tricks as an instructional designer. Hello, instructional designers and educators. Welcome to episode 72 of the Designing with Love podcast. I'm thrilled to have Dr. Norina Columbaro, a talent development leader and instructional design coordinator at Perform for Life Consulting with me today. Welcome, Norina.
Thank you, Jackie. It's good to be here.
Yes.
And I hate to correct you, it's performance for life, but that's okay.
I'm sorry, performance for life. Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. I must have forgotten that last part in there, so I appreciate that.
It's all
good. Great. So to start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what inspired you to focus on talent development and instructional design?
Oh, this is always hard. I hate talking about myself, but I'm gonna do my best, okay?
Sure.
So, what inspired me to get into instructional design? It was a long road. And as I was kind of chatting with you a little bit earlier, I've been doing this for a long time. As you can imagine, you see the grays. And, I started out in scientific and technical communication. And I was doing the old PowerPoints and graphic design and all that good stuff back in the day when they actually hired departments to do this kind of stuff. And it just felt like I needed to be around people and connect a little bit more than just user manuals and presentations. And so I had a wonderful opportunity to move into the company that I was working at, their department, their training and development department, and kind of took off from there. And I just fell in love with it. And it was more than just the facilitation. It was also creating. Using my background in scientific and technical communication and working with subject matter experts. And it's just been a wonderful ride. I've been in business now for almost 27 years now. And as I was mentioning to you, Jackie, I've seen this profession evolve, very significantly over those years. But I still have a love for it. And particularly, I love seeing more people coming into this area because it's exciting. It's a fun profession.
Absolutely. Yes. It kind of reminds me of the passion that my students have when I'm teaching them in the graduate program at Grand Canyon University. So it's exciting to see that they have that love and passion for education in general, but then to see that they want to come into this profession and they have that excitement. And it doesn't matter what age they are. They can be even older than me, younger than me. And I'm like, wow, there's no boundaries to the age and to the level of experience that they have. They can come in it and really learn it and love it. So like we do. So I love that. Yeah. It's wonderful. It's a great type of profession because as we know, it goes across all different sectors. And so that's what makes it so appealing to so many people, I think.
Absolutely. Well, and I think what's really exciting is, I have worked with about 60 or more companies, organizations, nonprofits, you name it, across the board, internationally over the years, and you get to learn new things. You come in with your background in instructional design, and you get to use all the models, methodologies, theories, and try to negotiate the reality. And more importantly, get to work with these subject matter experts that are amazing. And to learn so many different topics. I've learned, about corrosion and different topics in healthcare and customer service and supported employment recently with the state of Oregon. And that's just naming a few topic areas that I learn more about. And that's what I find really exciting is that connection.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you can tell the subject matter experts are passionate about their field and what they do. And so you're bridging together their expertise, and then you're taking your expertise of instructional design and learning development and taking those and then and putting that into something that's digestible for the learner so that they have something that comes out on the other side. And you see it kind of start and then it becomes something that is tangible. And I love that. Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. And what's really cool, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but when your subject matter experts start getting really excited about adult learning theory and instructional design themselves. And I've had instances where my subject matter experts actually decided to just go into instructional design themselves, and they're doing great. And it's really cool to watch. And,
that's cool.
It's fun to see other people start to geek out on this, because you always feel, for years you felt kind of alone. It's like, these subject matter experts would just, kind of throw the content over the wall, and you communicate with them and work with them to develop the curriculum or, the learning events, etc. But now they want to get involved in the process on that side too. And I love that. It's really cool to watch that excitement.
That is, yeah, that's true. I'm working on some new courses and a graduate certificate right now, and the subject matter experts are like that. They're very passionate, and they want to know, what can I do better at, because they know the process, they know how we work, of what we need from them in order to make a course what it is. But it's really great when they welcome that feedback, because sometimes subject matter experts, they just want to run with it. They want to take what they have and call it good. Like you said, what's going to stick to the wall, and then that's it. And I'm like, it's
to
not
check off a box or something like that. And you're going to get that. But It's really cool, because I think more often than not, especially in the recent years, because of the technology and the access to different tools that are out there, people are getting a little more excited about that instructional design side too.
That's great.
And the subject matter experts are willing to step out of their comfort zones a little bit and try some new things.
Wow, that's great. I love that. Wonderful. So you, as I read through your information, you focus on empowering organizations through continuous improvement, which I love, and that learner-centered design, which is so important. I teach that to my students all the time. So from your experience, what's the biggest challenge companies face when moving beyond training to that real performance? And how does action mapping help with that?
Oh boy, it's going to be an ongoing thing. And, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the theory and models that we learn in school, they're great. Putting them into practice is another thing, right?
Right.
And I know that Kathy Moore, I'm kind of getting a little off track, but Kathy Moore always talks about, do you want to be an order taker? Sometimes you got to be, okay? Let's face it.
Yeah.
But what I try to do is influence the stakeholders from the very beginning of the return on investment, kind of pulling in some Jack Phillips, right? And that's part of this too. I think with instructional design is you're not so focused on the course. You're focused on what is the problem we're trying to solve, right? And if you can get people to understand the benefits of the problem that you're trying to solve, and it requires some influencing. And then sometimes it requires you to make a decision. You got to either walk away, or, you have to look at the bigger picture too. Maybe you have to be an order taker every once in a while. But those times where I'm actually able to influence somebody to look at what the problem that we're trying to solve and what the performance is that we're looking for as a result of this learning event is, that's amazing. And we see measurable impacts. And, everybody's all about, making sure that we have data to back everything up. And oftentimes that resonates with most people in getting them aligned with that whole idea of, let's not just put together a bunch of PowerPoints. Let's really focus on what is expected on the job and how are we going to get there. And quite frankly, is a learning event going to take care of that? Or is it just going to be one piece of the puzzle? Back in the 90s, there was a book, and it's still around, and I know Dana Gaines Robinson. This was back in the 90s. Performance consulting. Have you heard of that, Jackie? I'm sure you have, right? And it's still around, and even though practitioners, we learned about it and we pushed back over and over again, it's going to be an ongoing struggle. It just always is. There's always going to be organizations that you work with that just want to check off the boxes, right? Compliance training is an example of that too. However, those clients that you can get that will allow you to get them to see that performance is what it's really all about.
Absolutely.
Let's get them there, right?
Yeah, so true. Yeah. So it's kind of like with the ADDIE model, so when someone uses the ADDIE model, sometimes organizations want to skip that analysis. They want to get right to development.
Oh, yes.
And then they want to skip evaluation and they want to just roll it out. And it's like, you're missing like the two pillars of You just can't do what's in the middle. You're missing those two pillars
and
that hold it up.
And they feed into each other, right? Because
right.
evaluation informs the needs analysis on an ongoing basis for continuous improvement. So it is, it can be a hard sell, but just like anything else, you got to go in with the business mindset. You have to go in with being able to influence them. And that's why instructional design, you got to learn about the models and the theories and everything, but really learning how to consult, really learning how to, be business minded when you go in there, even if it's a nonprofit, is a critical set of skills.
Absolutely. I think. Yeah, I would agree. And even like in higher education and K through 12, I've learned that through my students, but I've got the higher education experience, but most of my students are, I would say about 90% of them are in K through 12 education. And so when they, and they talk about like the standards and all these things. And I'm like, if you're going to stay in K through 12, then you're going to do like instructional coaching or instructional design. Yeah. You're going to see that, but you also have to think about like what we were talking about, that performance base. And so it's very interesting to hear how much, unfortunately, bureaucracy is behind all of that. But I'm like, you got to get past some of that.
Reality.
Yeah.
It's reality.
It's reality.
That's right. And that's what you got to work with. And, I have to say the most fulfilling projects that I have been on, it's been because the organizations have been willing to step away from concentrating on the learning event as the end all be all, right? And so I worked on a project over a course of a couple years, and it's being rolled out now. It was a 64-hour curriculum. So here's a higher ed example for you. And it was for supported employment. And I'm going to tell you, I had the best subject matter experts anybody could ever wish for. One of them, I actually is an instructional designer now herself, which is really super cool. And she's doing an amazing job. But, we were able to really step back and focus in this curriculum what needs to be done on the job. And I mean, it is very hands-on. It's not all theory. It's not all lower levels of Bloom's knowledge base. I mean, there is a lot of demonstration, a lot of higher level thinking for this curriculum. And it's because the organization was dedicated to that. And we were able to, track the data to show measurable results. And that to me is successful, along with just, having a dream team of subject matter experts.
Hello, I have some exciting news to share with all of my listeners. There is a feature called Fan Mail. What this allows you to do is send me a text message anytime during the episode. There's a link located at the top of the description in each episode, and it says send Jackie a text message. So when you click on that link, you'll be able to send me a message letting me know what you thought about the episode and if you have any ideas for future episode content as well. I look forward to seeing your text messages. Thank you. Right. That's amazing. I love that because that fed into my next question about the example. So that's perfect that you mentioned that. That's great. What model did you end up moving to? Did you use 4CID because it was
You know what? It's funny, Jackie. There's an author out there, and I can't remember her name. She talks about instructional design being a messy process. It is.
It is. Yeah. It's never neat.
No matter how organized you are, project management tools I've used them all, models I've used, you gotta use what works for the time. It is. It's art. And I used kind of a combination of Addie and Sam. So, you come in with the idea of failing fast. Right. Which I love about Sam is that, you have the iterations and you get to really work out the kinks and everything like that. But, quite frankly, there's elements that overlap with Addie as well. So I kind of do a Frankenstein of Sam and Addie.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
I like that. Smatty.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it seems to work. I mean, I'm about results, right? And
exactly.
I will take the tools. I mean, the performance, the Kathy Moore, love her action mapping. It's fantastic. And I've used elements of it, but I'm not a purist. I use what I need, for the time. And
Yeah.
again, you cobble together the tools and the theories that are going to work to get you the learner-centered training, learning event, intervention, coaching, whatever it may be.
Whatever.
You
Right.
have to walk away from being dogmatic. And I think a lot of new people coming into, and I think you'll probably notice this too, Jackie, with your students, they come out, oh, well, this is how it's supposed to be. And, the theory, and they start practicing this stuff. And, it really calls on being flexible and willing to maybe take pieces and parts from the different theories and models to get you where you need to go. So that's what I tell
Exactly.
newer people to this profession.
I love that. Yeah, because I used to be that type that wanted things done a certain way. I was a perfectionist in many ways. Some ways I might be, but one person, and this is through the SAM model and even rapid development, they said,
right.
It's okay to have messy or dirty designs. I like the dirty design. And I thought, that's really good because when you hand something over as an initial prototype, it's not going to be flushed out. It's not going to be all worked out. It's going to be messy and dirty. So I like just to think of that. Okay, yeah, that's a work in progress, and it's a cyclical, constant, back and forth between the subject matter experts and really working and refining it. Yeah, so I love
and trust
that.
me, I'm learning still to this day. I still learn. I make mistakes and missteps too, and I just try to work as quickly as I can to recover from them. But it's you got to have a high tolerance for messy to be in this. Really,
that's so true. Absolutely. And I'm learning still too, like we were talking about, you've been in this industry longer than I have. And I feel like I'm like 15 years. Wow. But it's like we said before, it tells our age a little bit if we say how long we've been in it, but I don't mind either giving my age away. But it's interesting because I feel like I learn from my students just as much as they learn from me. So it's
absolutely
give and take. Yeah. So that's what I love about it. Yeah.
And I think the more, I'm in this profession, the more I realize that I don't know. And I'm not saying that because I've been in this profession for 27 years that I know everything. I just, I like to try to help people avoid the bumps. But I learned so much more from the new folks coming in. I mean, as far as the tech's concerned, I know AI, I've been working with that and learning how to use prompt engineering properly to help support any instructional design. And, of course, anything around the CAG,
Yes.
digital accessibility, all those things too, because, and keeping up with all this can be really daunting.
Right.
And especially when you're busy working on projects, right? And so you got to be open to learning from the new folks coming into this area, because we're all pretty much new when it comes to AI and I know with even with digital accessibility,
right,
it can be challenging for folks too.
Absolutely. Right. Great. I love that. So what are some of the key strategies or lessons you found most effective in your work? You've talked a little bit about that. And how do you think others can apply those insights to some of their own projects that they're working on?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I already mentioned it, flexibility, and creating a plan on how you're going to influence the clients or whoever you're working with to focus on performance ultimately, and have some tools. I know there's a lot of templates out there. I know I have some templates for intake. I know Kathy Moore provides in her book, Map It, right? The action mapping has some wonderful tools for interviewing and getting people to the performance and focusing on that. So I know that there's some really good techniques. Every project is so different, Jackie. I mean, right. I'm telling you, there's some things as I was preparing for this and thinking about how I could articulate this, is that I almost take a different approach just depending on the organization, the domains that we are focusing on, and the subject matter experts. I mean, really getting to know them, getting to know their work styles, what they like to do, what they don't like to do. And I try not to force them into something. So I'll give you an example. So like getting feedback on, let's just say, I'm going to use a presentation, because oftentimes people, regardless, I know Kathy Moore says, don't talk about slides, don't talk about learning outcomes. The reality is a lot of your subject matter experts are very visual, right? And as long as you explain to them that this PowerPoint is not the end all be all, this is a concept, right? And so I let them decide, is it easier for you to comment in the PowerPoint, or is it easier for you to put it in a spreadsheet? And we kind of work out the logistics so I can get what I need from them so that we can get to the final product. And so I let them kind of help me with that. And I just allow myself some flexibility to just step back and say, hey, you know what? This is going to work for them as long as I get the information I need to help support them in this process and get to the end goal, then I'm fine with it. So again, I can't say it enough. Flexibility, 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 and really building up your toolkit. Looking at different types of resources that are out there. I mean, anything. Tim Slade's fantastic. I mean,
Yes.
anything around Tim Slade, Kara North, of course, Tracy King. You know, I stand for Tracy King. And, you know, and Dana Gaines Robinson still has some really great work. You know, Brookfield. So I tap into a lot of different, you know, experts in this area.
Absolutely.
For additional ideas. And I know there's new ones that are coming out. I mean, we got people emerging left and right. So,
right.
But it is an exciting time. I'm just curious, you know, with AI, and I know this is your podcast, but I'm going to ask you a question: how much that you've been using it in your classrooms?
Yes, that's a great question. With Grand Canyon University, they've taken the approach of not policing it, but incorporating it. Yeah. Right. And so they just revised the master's program in instructional design. And so they've got a couple of competencies that are AI focused. Are they? Which is really great. And then they revised all of the courses that I teach. And so I'm teaching a course right now. It's called Organizational Workplace and Performance Improvement. And so it's all about OKRs and all those different things, but it's really great because they've got an assignment coming up in, I think it's topic 5. They've got an assignment coming up where they have to, they have some case studies and they have to utilize AI technology to kind of have that back and forth conversation with the tool and get some outputs, and it's to help them build an e-learning module. So it's really interesting. And I'm like, ooh, this is cool.
And are they graded on their prompt engineering, or how they critically think through the process, or is it just on the end result?
Yeah, it's kind of on the end result, but they are supposed to give screenshots or something like that. They can either do screenshots or do like a copy paste into a Word document of the conversation that they had with AI and some of what their prompts were and things like that, and how they did that back and forth. So it's pretty cool. It's funny though. I have a student that sends me a message almost every day because she wants to make sure that she's doing things right. And I appreciate that, but she's very much on top of things. And she asked me, I didn't think of this until she asked the question. And I thought, well, maybe we need to put this in the syllabus, or maybe I need to put it in my future announcements. But she's like, how many times do I need to have a conversation with the AI tool? How much are you expecting with that? And I said, there's really no number. It's just however much you think you need to do of back and forth to where you get that result that you're looking for that can help you inform your e-learning module. So I said, there's no real number around it, because I've used AI in my profession and as an instructional designer. And I've noticed that sometimes the AI tool gets me the first draft of what I'm looking for, and kind of in that realm within a few prompts. And then sometimes I have to probe it more, and I'm like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. This is,
sounds like subject matter experts.
Yeah,
Same
exactly.
Thing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of that virtual assistant where I'm like, no, you're not quite there. Can you adjust this a little bit? Or, because I noticed that the AI tools, they love bullets and lists. And so unfortunately, our system doesn't allow multi-level lists. So we're trying to figure out how can we train the AI model, our internal AI model.
LLM.
Not to do that.
It's really interesting. Yeah. And, and speaking of mistakes, I mean, I've made mistakes with AI too. I mean, I've had things hallucinate, and I've had to really check very closely.
Yes.
And that's one area that I'm looking forward to seeing more development for those of us in this profession, instructional designers, anybody who's involved with developing, learning, that type of thing, really getting comfortable with utilizing the technology in the way it should be. And I don't want to lose sight of critical thinking. I'm always concerned about that too. Just like anything else, our critical thinking is a muscle. We need to keep exercising it. And I get concerned that over-reliance on that particular tool can cause us to atrophy.
Right.
So, I'm encouraged when I hear people like you that you're really, fostering that critical thinking piece.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
for your students.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Because I utilize it a little bit to gather ideas for the podcast, like with my solo episodes. And I did this whole series on different models and theories, and I was asking it to give me some ideas on, I did one on Mayer's 12 multimedia principles. And then I did one on Merrill's first principles of instruction. And they were pretty close to each other. And I was just kind of doing the outlines. And it was funny because ChatGPT actually got them, mixed up, and so it started taking Merrill's and it put it in with Mayer's, and I'm like, wait a minute, there aren't 5 multimedia principles, there's 12.
Yeah. I know, Jackie, that happened. I did see that happen one time when I was looking, because I was doing something around pulling together some information about different adult learning models, and that actually did happen through ChatGPT. So we have to be super on that. I know.
Yeah, that's crazy. Nuts.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the technology's there. We just have to be wise to use our critical thinking skills and our ability to curate what's coming out. Because garbage in, garbage out, as they say, right? That's
absolutely
been around forever.
Right. That's so true. I love that. That's great. That's great advice. Absolutely. So as we wrap up, are there any top tips or any other advice that you'd like to give to my listeners who are looking to transition into the instructional design field, or maybe they're just getting started and not sure where to go to start?
You've got so much support out here. I mean, the wonderful thing is that people that go into this area, Jackie, this is why I said to you, designing with love, because I really like that. I know that, it may seem a little touchy-feely, but that's what it's all about. It's really not only a love of profession, but a love of helping people and helping people learn to make their lives better, to make, to take care of, any obstacles in either their well-being or their ability to perform on the job. That's what it's all about. It's about that connection. And even if you're sitting behind a laptop and you're, putting together e-learning or whatever type of learning event or getting ready for a coaching session, it really is about connection.
Right.
Whether it's connecting with your subject matter experts, your stakeholders, your learners, connecting ideas, or connecting on a relationship level. And that is what I would encourage people to think about. The models, you can always look them up. You can implement them. Project management tools, there's a ton of them out there that are fantastic. But when it comes right down to it, if you can't connect with the people, don't bother getting into it. And I have a feeling that most people that decide to get into it really do like that connection piece, because that's what led to it as well.
Yeah, I love that. Because even like for people like me that work remotely, and I work with people not only throughout my state that I live in, but all across the country and some international as well. So yeah, like you said earlier, you've had the opportunity to work across the country and around the world. So being able to make those connections are so important today. Yep. Yeah.
Because learning new ways of approaching things too,
Right. Because it's so easy to feel isolated and siloed in something. So yeah, keeping that connection is so important, and not just thinking of it, we have to meet, but really forming, like you said, forming those connections, and not just another meeting, but an opportunity to learn something new and connect and share ideas. So I love that. Yeah, that's great. That dialogue is so important. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Norina, for sharing your insights today. I know your experiences, tips, and expertise are going to inspire my listeners and hopefully bring about that next generation, right, of instructional designers.
We need new voices. We need new voices out here, okay?
Absolutely.
And who can teach me some things, too, all of us.
Yeah, exactly. I believe in that lifelong learning, and I think it's wonderful, because if we think we know everything and if we become stagnant, it doesn't help us. It doesn't help our learners or anybody. So, being willing and open to always learning and growing is such a good thing. Absolutely. I love it. Great. Well, I look forward to having you back on the show again, and we can dig in and talk about some other things, anything that is on your mind. I know my listeners would love anything that we can dive more into, just like with Tracy and I, we're probably planning to do something else. So I always love having my guests come back and
Oh, that's nice.
and do that. So
you're going to let me come back?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I'm always willing to gravitate towards anyone that's been in the field, no matter how long or short, and just gather those experiences and pass them along. So yeah,
happy to
I love
share them.
Great.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thanks again, Norina. I appreciate it.
Keep doing your good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for taking some time to listen to this podcast episode today. Your support means the world to me. If you'd like to help keep the podcast going, you can share it with a friend or colleague, leave a heartfelt review, or offer a monetary contribution. Every act of support, big or small, makes a difference, and I'm truly thankful for you.